Hello friends, today we are going to discuss the concept of the perfect shot cycle. The shot cycle which an Olympic shooter or an elite shooter uses and how it differs from you. Compare an Olympic 10-meter air pistol shooter right from the moment the pistol is lifted till follow through. It is smooth, he's calm, and it's almost mechanical. No emotions, just smooth and clock-like. It feels like they're doing nothing special, nothing different. Yet the scoreboard differs from yours. And the secret lies in the simple fact that the shooting routine or each shot cycle is so polished that they leak fewer points. And the beauty of it all is that these leaking points can be plugged. With my 30 plus years of experience, I will help you to identify them. And if you plug them, your performance and scores will improve dramatically. So let's dive in and cut to the chase. But before we dive in, let me explain two very important concepts which I will be using. The first is the route, and the second is the aiming process. So what is this route? The route is the path your sights trace right from the firing platform, which is A, to B, which is a point above the target, and from B, when the sights come down and settle into the aiming area in the target, this is called as point C. And at C, when the trigger commences till the shot is fired and you execute follow through. So the path is A, firing platform, B, point above the target, to C, which is the aiming area, and till follow through. A to B to C to FT. The second thing is the aiming process. So what is this aiming process? The aiming process comprises of three elements. When your sights come into the aiming area, your sights should be first steady and aligned, which is the first element. Second, the sight should be in sharp focus. This is the second element. And the third, your sight should have a reduced arc of movement, which is the third element. These three elements combine to form what you call as the aiming process. Now let's dive in. The first point is, when the shooters are standing on the firing point, what are you thinking before each record shot? The invisible start line. The majority of the shooters, 99%, think that the shot cycle begins when they pick up the gun. Wrong. It begins a few seconds to a few minutes before you pick up the pistol to shoot the first record shot. The Olympic elite pistol shooter, even before he picks up the gun, is cool, calm, composed, and confident, even before he picks up the gun. And why is he so cool, calm, and composed? Why is he so confident? The reasons are two. The first thing is he knows that when his sights come into the aiming area, they will be aligned in sharp focus and with a reduced arc of movement, and all these three things, the aiming process will happen automatically. And the second thing is, since this is going to happen automatically, the sights being aligned with a reduced arc of movement and they being in sharp focus, his trigger operation begins automatically the moment the sights come into the aiming area. This is what he's very confident about. Compare this with a normal shooter. He is not confident at all because he knows that the battle is going to begin. When the sights come into the aiming area, the battle is going to begin. He knows he's going to have a wrestling match with the sights. He's not sure whether his trigger will start operating or when it will start operating or whether it will move smoothly, continuously, because his mind will be distracted by the movement of the sights. And so he's not confident at all. The second reason is he is carrying emotional garbage or baggage from the result of the previous shot. If it's an 8, he is already mentally disturbed. Now he wants to shoot 2 10s. He is already under pressure and he is not confident at all. Also, he is now afraid to shoot a bad shot. Even before he picks up the gun, he is already down 2 points. The truth is, if the results of the previous shot hijacks your mind, then you are already 2 points down. The second part comes the lifting of the pistol from A to B. This is the first technical landmine. You can spot the difference between an elite shooter and a wannabe shooter, an average shooter, in the first 3 seconds of the lift. The elite shooter, the Olympic shooter, lifts his pistol in a very relaxed manner, smoothly, from A to B, calm and measured, and this happens for each and every shot. The body language is relaxed, specifically the muscles of the shoulders. In the case of the average shooter, the lift is high. The point B is far higher above the target, which is quite unnecessary because he has to combat the additional lift and the load to take the pistol from A to B. This load acts on the muscles of the shoulders, thereby creating tremors in the muscles. The increase of load on the muscles, which leads to muscular tension and builds up tremors in the muscles of the shooting arm. Or he snatches the gun up to the shortest point B above the target. This again builds up muscular tension, which leads to tremors in the shooting arm. Both of the above actions lead to tremors in the shooting arm. So the lift is the opening pitch, and if it is crappy or rough, you pay for it silently in the next few seconds. Next is when the sights come from B to C into the aiming area. This is called as the Zen phase, where you have to be calm, composed, and relaxed. Now, aiming is not about staring hard at the sights. It's all about settling into the aiming area smoothly, calmly, and softly, without any jerks, without any tremors. What the elites do from B to C, the aiming process is automatic and they don't chase the perfect sight picture. When the sights come into the aiming area, The elite shooters, the Olympic shooters do not chase the perfect sight picture. Please keep this in mind. Because they already know the sight picture will be perfect. They also know that the arc of movement will be reduced. And they also know that the sights will be in sharp focus, so they don't have to strain their eyes unnecessarily. Now, where average shooters lose points, they waste their time in over-aiming, staring hard at the sights, trying to get the perfect sight picture, wrestling with the sights to keep them aligned, to keep them in sharp focus and to reduce that arc of movement. The intense staring at the sights leads to fatigue in the eyes, which leads to blurring. Now, if your brain starts screaming, hold still, hold still, hold still when the sights come into the aiming area, you're already dead in the waters. Next comes the trigger operation, the star performer, the most valuable player. The star performer is the trigger operation, the one element that contributes to the most success. Let's face reality. 90% of bad shots are trigger related, not aiming related. I'll say that again. 90% of bad shots are trigger related, not aiming related. Now, this is how an elite shooter behaves. The moment the sights come into the aiming area, his trigger starts moving automatically, smoothly, continuously, before, during, and after the shot is fired. And the shot breaks within 6 to 9 seconds, which is an ideal window where his blood supply to the brain is good, he is comfortable where his breathing is concerned, he's got sufficient air in the lungs. 6 to 9 seconds, his shot breaks. Consistently, from shot to shot. And this trigger timing is the key to great shooting. Now, what is a non-elite behavior? What is an average pistol shooter behavior? When the sights come into the aiming area, he holds too long, trying to reduce the arc of movement, trying to keep the sight steady, thereby delaying the trigger. The fear of a bad shot prevents pulling the trigger. His trigger doesn't start on time. He wastes precious seconds because he is afraid of pulling the trigger. And this delay leads to running out of breath and subsequently to cancellation. A number of cancellations lead to time pressure. So trigger timing is the key to become an elite shooter. Next we come to follow through, the most neglected phase. Most shooters drop follow through like a hot potato. The moment the shot is fired, the gun comes down. Whereas elite shooters treat it like sacred ground. The elite shooter maintains follow through, which is he maintains his balance, his breathing pattern, his sights are steady, in sharp focus, the arc of movement is reduced and that is maintained, and his trigger starts moving smoothly, continuously, before, during, and after the shot. So all these elements are maintained before, during, and after the shot is fired for 1 or 2 seconds after the shot is fired. This is called follow through. His body and his face are absolutely still. His eyes are soft, and he observes the recoil pattern calmly. He logs the feedback that he receives from the sight movement internally without adding emotional commentary. The common errors of an average shooter is he drops the arm the moment the shot is fired, looks at the monitor too quickly. His mind switches off from the shooting process, from the mental focus, and switches to the result on the monitor, and letting emotions declare victory or defeat prematurely. A clean follow through is the difference between learning and repeating mistakes. Now comes the post-shot reset. This is the forgotten hero. The forgotten hero. The Olympic shooters and the elite shooters reset their breathing. Some use yogic pranayam techniques like Anulom Vilom to get their heartbeat down to normal. Mentally, they start focusing and replaying the sequence of steps which they are going to follow for the next shot. And because they get mentally occupied, they are not distracted by the result of the shot, and they don't carry emotional baggage of the last shot because they are mentally focused on the steps that they are going to take. So mentally and emotionally, they are absolutely focused for the next shot. Now compare this with an average shooter. He is busy getting emotional by celebrating the shot which has gone in the 10. Oh, fireworks. Or he is busy complaining or cribbing if the shot goes in the 8. He starts analyzing what went wrong and thus affirming the errors which he has committed. And most likely, by replaying those errors, by overanalyzing, the chances of repeating the same mistake in the next shot increase. If the previous shot was a bad shot, then they add pressure upon themselves to shoot 2 more 10s, thus adding more and more pressure on themselves, increasing the tension in the body. And this is where the match is quietly won or lost. In summary, what the Olympic shooters and the elite shooters do different is they don't try harder, they execute cleaner. They don't chase 10s. They run their shot cycle with ruthless efficiency and with consistency, completely focused on the shot cycle. That's it. On the process, on the execution of the shot. That's what they're focused on. Not chasing 10s. Because they know that if they focus on the shot cycle, the result will come. They're confident. They don't depend on external motivation, like shooting a 10. They shot a bad shot, so they shoot 2 10s. No. They depend upon the programming, the subconscious programming of the steps that they are taking in the shot cycle. This is programmed in their subconscious mind. And they certainly don't gamble each shot. They replicate a repeatable system. That's where the confidence comes from. That's why they're so cool and calm. Your shot cycle isn't just a routine. It's your performance engine. It's your formula for success. When you tighten it, your results don't improve, they are transformed. Now, if you want to tighten your shot cycle, if you want to learn more about the aiming process and how to master the aiming process and how to master the automatic trigger operation, go on my website, on my homepage, and you will master the aiming process, the automatic trigger operation, by mastering the skills and the exercises given from module number 1 to 6. I have given the link to all these modules in the description below. Do go and study them. And if you have liked this video, please share this video with as many shooters as possible. Till then, goodbye and happy shooting till the next video.